to the ITSM Practice Podcast.
Welcome to the ITSM Practice Podcast. I'm Luigi Ferri. Before we begin, thank you. Thank you for listening, for sharing, for challenging ideas, and for being part of this growing community. This third series exists because of you. You'll notice something new today. A new music theme. It's a small change, but it marks a new chapter. And it feels right to open this series with something equally new, ITIL 5, released in mid-February. A new sound, a new series, and a new level of conversation. Now, let's begin. For years, we said IT had to become faster, then digital, then agile, then customer-centric. And yet, many organizations are still managing services as if complexity were an exception, not the rule. So let me start with a simple and uncomfortable thought. What if we just didn't understand what ITIL 4 was trying to tell us? ITIL 4 gave us practices instead of processes, value streams instead of linear life cycles, guiding principles instead of rigid doctrine. But in reality, what happened? We relabeled processes as practices. We drew value streams on slides, then governed them like flowcharts. We spoke about co-creation while keeping decisions centralized and opaque. ITIL 4 was not the problem. The way we applied it was. And this matters because ITIL 5 does not forgive superficial understanding. So, what changes when the environment itself becomes intelligent? ITIL 4 still spoke mainly the language of services. ITIL 5 shifted the center of gravity to digital products and services as integrated systems, not a catalog item, not a ticket queue, a living system, evolving, learning, interacting with users, platforms, and automation. In an AI-native environment, services no longer behave predictably. They adapt, they recommend, they decide. ITIL 5 accepts a reality we often avoid. You are no longer managing services. You are governing behavior in complex systems. And if systems make decisions, who is actually accountable? Let me be very concrete for a moment. One of the real shifts in ITIL 5 is that it stops treating services as the primary unit of management. ITIL 4 prepared us for this. It introduced value streams, co-creation, and practices precisely to weaken the old service-centric mindset. But ITIL 5 formalized the shift. The primary unit is no longer the service, the process, or the practice. It is the digital product service system, operating across its life cycle, with embedded automation, data, and decision logic. This is not a cosmetic change. It explains why ITIL 5 can no longer ignore AI, governance, or complexity. Because once systems think, leadership becomes explicit. And that brings us to governance. AI is not the headline of ITIL 5. Governance is. AI simply exposed what was already fragile, unclear decision rights, undocumented assumptions, metrics disconnected from outcomes, escalation paths that rely on human intuition alone. ITIL 5 treats intelligent automation as an enabler. It forces leaders to ask which decisions can be delegated, which must remain human, and based on what evidence. This is where many organizations feel discomfort, because AI does not break processes, it breaks illusion of control. So how does ITIL 5 respond differently than ITIL 4? ITIL 4 value streams describe how value should flow. Practices support consistency. Governance often implied, not explicit. Now, with ITIL 5, digital product life cycles integrate services, platforms, and automation. Decisions models are designed, not assumed. Governance is continuous, data-driven, and visible. The shift is subtle but decisive. ITIL 4 asked, how do we deliver value? ITIL 5 asks, how do we make good decisions at scale repeatedly under uncertainty? That's not just doing operation well, that's leading well. But what does this mean for a chief information officer and chief information security officers in practice? For chief information officers, ITIL 5 aligns service management with product ownership. Metrics move from activity to outcome and learning. Organizational design matters more than toolchain. For chief information security officers, AI-driven services force explicit risk ownership. Governance cannot sit outside service management anymore. Security becomes a property of the system, not a control layer. ITIL 5 quietly removes the excuses that governance slows things down. Poor governance does, good governance enables speed. So, why does this feel threatening to some leaders? Because ITIL 5 removes hiding places. You can no longer blame the process, the tool, the framework. When systems are adaptive, leadership becomes visible. Decisions leave fingerprints. Trade-offs are exposed. ITIL 5 does not ask you to adopt a framework. It asks you to change how you think about responsibility. And that is why some will resist it. So, where does this leave us? ITIL 5 is sharper. It is the natural evolution of service management in an AI-native world. Not because AI is fashionable, but because complexity is unavoidable. If ITIL 4 taught us to see services as value systems, ITIL 5 teaches us to lead those systems consciously. And the question is no longer are we ITIL compliant. The question is, are we ready to be accountable for how our systems think, decide, and evolve? That is the conversation ITIL 5 forces us to have. And that is why it matters. Thank you for listening. I'm Luigi Ferri, and this was the ITSM Practice Podcast. Arrivederci.